is. So let's head over to them.
All right. Thanks, guys. We're ready, Pig. We're ready to get back into game number 2.
We're recharged. We're revitalized.
Elazer versus SOS, but I'm sure you guys already know that. Of course, SOS is leading 1-0. We're very early into game number 2, so no one has an advantage really quite yet.
Yeah, not at all. So, of course, they were swapping out computers and all that stuff. I'm not sure. They might actually even do a fresh reboot of the game since it was so early on, but...
Yeah, it looks like that is what they're going to go ahead and do. All right, guys, here we go. In the top right from Poland, make some noise for Elazer.
Representing Kulash there, going very far a few years in a row, but of course, up against him down here in the bottom left-hand side of Blackpink. In the red, representing Generic Green Wings, it is SOS.
All right. Hatchery's down quickly once again, Pig. We already talked a lot about that. Don't need to go into it again. But SOS,
we should break it down again, just in case some more people tune in the meantime.
If the game gets paused, we're going to have to. But no, I mean, you know, SOS not going to get too much done with this probe, just a little bit of harassment.
Yep.
What do you think that Elazer should do to win this series from here?
I think Elazer's just got to play a calm Zerg versus Protoss. I mean, definitely if he's got something tricky up his sleeve, sure. If it makes sense, it's a good plan, go for it. But realistically, I don't feel like SOS is this unstoppable god in this matchup, because I think if the Zerg player is just a little bit more careful than normal, a little bit more on top of their scouting, there aren't quite as many tricky moves and moments where he can kind of deny vision and kind of obscure his opponent's vision of what's going on in the game as he can in, say, in Protoss versus Protoss or Protoss versus Terran. I think as a Zerg player, you can force the game into a more standard scenario, and if there's a guy who's going to excel in that scenario, it's Elazer. He's an absolute beast in a standard game.
Yeah, he really is, and I would love to see that out of him here. Of course, SOS is no slouch in that way, but really the danger comes when he does start to trick you. So let's see if he's going to throw down a quick Stargate here. Is he going to get that Phoenix to deny scouting and try to get into a nice position through that?
Well, the Cybercore isn't spinning. Nice tell there, which of course the Lazer's aware of. His Overlord will see that, and that immediately tells him, there's a Stargate on the way, because it is very gas heavy, and you delay that Warp Gate upgrade just slightly to get that Stargate down nice and fast. So he's going to be Stargate play there for SOS, and his probe is still scouting around out front. I love how long his probe stays alive. He's always there, just kind of running around, trying to check exactly what's going on. And this is part of how SOS ensures he doesn't die to those Zergling floods. They were what lost him the grand finals in Pyeongchang. He doesn't want to go down like that again.
You can see just how careful his scouting is, you know, much in thanks to Scarlet for destroying him with that strategy so many times.
Best way to learn, man, is
yep.
you know, you die in a very, very tough, important match, and then you never want to let that happen again. So he is all over it this time around. SOS going for the Phoenix there. A third Adept already on the way. These two Adepts out very early. He may dive in there. And it looks like, wow, he's actually going to try and jump in. Already focus firing these Zerglings. Does take down 2 of them. Is he going to commit to the Shade? Yes, he is. Going for the worker kills.
All right, already a couple workers going down, but one of these Adepts very low on health. 4 workers falling already. That's a big deal.
Already? Is he going to get the 5th? Oh, my lord.
Oh, wow.
That is monstrous damage. 5 kills from those first 2 Adepts and a couple of Zerglings. A great start to things here for the Protoss player. Now, as this Overlord goes down, it's lights out for the Zerg. This is the last piece of vision he's going to get of SOS's base, and now SOS can freely put down his follow-up tech. Elazer going to have to just use his Zerglings to scour the map and make sure he isn't surprised by the next move.
Well, let's see what that follow-up tech is. Additional gases being added, another Oracle as well, so we got to wait for that gas to go up. Will he throw down a Twilight once again? That's the big question here. Will it be that Glaved Adept follow-up?
Wouldn't be surprised even if we saw the Twilight Robo, both of those going down. Of course, we'll have to wait and see. For now, The Spore Crawlers are going down at home. The Queen's quite well positioned as well. SOS not really diving in, hunting for damage. He knows Elazer's well prepared, and you're going to notice that he's very clever about waiting and finding the moment when the drones are running between the bases. When they're in the open, that's where his oracles will jump on top of them.
Okay, a Robo actually going to be the building that comes up right now. This could just mean a third base incoming. That's kind of what it looks like to me. The Twilight comes up right afterwards, though, as well. So definitely can still be a bit aggressive.
Yeah, these Oracles are going to come in on this natural. No Queens here at all. The Oracles dive in. Not the best focus fire from SOS, but still 7 kills. But one Oracle goes down on the way out. The other Oracle goes down as well.
All right, definitely a good victory right there for Elazer, but to lose this many probes early on is a bit rough. A lot of Zerglings out, so SOS cancels that Shade in and backs out with his Adepts.
Did he just cancel his Twilight and then restart it, or is that a second? No, he started a second?
Nope, that's the first Twilight.
I don't know if I'm just seeing things.
He made the Twilight a little bit later than you normally do. Normally you throw that down, then the Robo, but he actually kind of went in the reverse. He's getting a quick Prism here.
Gearing up for a charge timing, do you think?
Yeah, it does look that way. I mean, if you get that Templar Archives, it's very gas intensive to get your Archons, so you want to be making Zealots with that as opposed to Adepts.
No third base on the way. Elazer sees this. The Zergling just hunting for vision, saying, what are you up to? And seeing no third base, Elazer is saying, all right, cut the worker production. We're going non-stop roaches from here. And it's not necessarily that same roach attack from game 1. It's just defensive roaches for now. He's going to keep scouting and trying to ascertain what is SOS next step.
Well, this is an incredibly quick Psystorm. I'm getting a little bit confused, Pig, as to what SOS is planning to do here.
I don't think this was his plan from the start. I think he's realizing after losing those Oracles that Elazer is in control of the game and he's adjusting his plan on the fly. So I think he's going to try to go for a Storm drop and then use that Storm to fall back defensively and try and catch up in the macro game. Whether or not it pays off, though, is another story.
Yeah, this is very interesting. You normally don't see a Storm drop this early, and in fact, you don't see all that many Storm drops on mineral lines in StarCraft 2. So kind of a cool strategy, and it shows SOS really can play on the fly. Things go wrong, and he makes new plans.
Oh yeah, this Prism still floating around. Elazer's going to be a little bit uncomfortable thinking, what is this Prism doing? I haven't seen any Zealots, I haven't seen any Archons. Why are you taking so long to start pressuring me? For now, Elazer's map control is good. He's trying to fight towards, of course, renaming the map blue-purple, as you've been joking about throughout this tournament. Zerg's just covering it in that purple creep spread over and over again. A good number of roaches out, and Elazer's actually squeezed his drone count up to full 3-base saturation as well. I love the way he's balanced this.
Oh, a couple good Psystorms going down. Doesn't get quite as many drones as he was hoping for, but hey, mana for 4 drones, it's not the end of the world here for SOS.
I think he's just going to leave those in the Prism, come back in as well. And that's part of the strength of the High Templar Storm Drop, is you can keep going back in over and over. And definitely 4 drones, not what he was looking for. Elazer with a solid lead. And going into the Swarm Hosts, Dan, this is exactly what we saw from Elazer against Classic. But he messed that game up a little bit. He overextended in between Locust Waves and lost a lot of his Swarm Hosts. Let's see if he can avoid making that mistake this time around.
Well, you know what? He made the mistake once. Elazer is not the type of guy to make that twice in one evening. So I'm expecting some just pristine Swarm Host play coming out of him. Now look at this. This Roach attack, this is kind of interesting. Going right into the natural, but a force field blocks him off.
Nice defense there from SOS. He's going to try and take advantage of all of this chaos, I think, to do the Storm Drop. Zerglings come in. They manage to nab 3 or 4 probes. The cannon will clean that up. The Storm Drop is going in, though. Elazer not watching. A big Storm lands, and another 7 workers go down.
All right, you do that a few more times, you start to gain a real edge. But look at this, the Locusts are coming. Some of them jumped a bit prematurely, but SOS can still fight them at this point.
Yeah, does bait out a few storms here. The Roaches actually take one to the face, and I mean, he's got to be careful with those Roaches. Of course, it's nice to take some cute little engagements, but SOS immediately jumps in with the counterattack. He's going to get a snipe on that 4th hatchery. Elazer here, non-stop Roach production with these Swarmos. He wants to keep trading with SOS while adding expansions. But SOS, he's bruising his economy and defending at home.
I love it. Recalling those Zealots even. Not losing too many for that kill. Now the Swarm Hosts are getting ready to shoot off again.
Oh, the High Templar in the open! The Roaches catch them! All 3 High Templar go down. The Locusts launch from the Swarm Hosts, and they're going to waddle their way out of there. There isn't enough Protoss here for SOS. I thought he was going to trap the Swarm host, but it turned out Elazer was too quick. Jumps on the flank of that army, and that is a disaster for SOS.
Yeah, he was playing beautifully, and it looked like that'd be a strong move, but here is Elazer. He's the one that set the trap right there. And even though he doesn't win straight up at this moment, when the next wave of Locusts come out, SOS does not have a lot to deal with that.
Elazer really wants to win this game. He's still not out of this tournament yet. If he can win this series in the next couple ones, he still has a good chance of going through, but he can't afford to drop this series here. He's got to make this one count, and that's why he's looking to tie it up. Another High Templar drop coming in on the third base. Elazer not watching, and a massive set of storms tear apart those worker lines.
Yeah, that is a big deal indeed. Now the Locusts have been launched. The Roaches and Ravagers coming in. Archons and Immortals, such efficient units, but this is a huge army.
These Roaches and Ravagers just finding a beautiful position. The Zealots washing up against that. As long as the Ravagers just pull back here, wait for the next Locust wave, SOS keeps losing such large numbers of units. 110 army supply to 30. SOS trying to work with so little.
Yeah, this next Locust Swarm could be the killing blow. Here we go, the Locusts coming out right now. They're gonna dive in on these Immortals. The shield battery's just about empty at this point. Diving down, killing off the Sentry. The Immortals trying to run back.
These Locusts have insane damage output. There's no splash damage to clear them. Another fresh wave coming in as well. The Immortals and the Archons microing frantically into the rear of the mineral line. So many Roaches and Ravagers going down. SOS microing his heart out, but there is just too much Zerg. Despite the economy damage, Elazer able to overwhelm SOS here, trickling Immortals in one at a time, but the third mineral line is gone. And that's going to be it.
GG, Elazer ties up the series, still showing that he has a chance here in Katowice.
A nice rally there for Elazer. He's finally got a little bit of confidence on his face. I liked seeing him laugh a little bit after that game. He had a big smile there. Felt really good about that, of course. Knowing that even while we missed it on stream, there was another storm drop there, which got another handful of drones. Like, he knew his economy was taking a bruising. He knew his swarmers were doing massive damage. And that's the sort of weird, fun, chaotic game where he managed to stay strong. He kept doing what he needed to do, and he shut everything down. So, well played.
Indeed it was, and I gotta say, a big moment in that game I felt was killing off those two Oracles. If SOS has two additional Oracles to kind of scout out where the Roaches are, where the Swarmos are, you know, attack from the skies a little bit, Elazer doesn't have an easy time pushing in there.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, SOS's plan, I kind of like it in a more standard game, maybe against Hydras. He's like, all right, I'm going to get Storm, do the Storm drops. That was cute, right? Because what was he working with? No information. He couldn't do this, oh, Oracle spot everything, I find the weak point with, say, a Zealot drop. He's like, no. He has to just do something which can work on any mineral line at any time. Storm drop's a great choice for that. But when you're like 2-3 Immortals, a couple of High Templar with Storm, not only is Storm not that good against Roaches, but especially when Locusts start coming in and you're relying on Storm, a spell to deal with free units, it gets really iffy.
Yeah, it doesn't last for very long. Well, we are going into game number 3 here on Acid Plant. In the bottom right, it's SOS.
And his opponent in the top left-hand side, the hometown hero, the Polish representative, a player who has become a force within his own right. In the top left, representing Kulash, it is Elazer.
Of course, lots of support for Elazer here. Look at that, SOS getting out, blocking that hatchery.
This is a 16 hatch as well. Elazer's like, I can get this down nice and early. No way you can block this on such a big map. SOS is like, I will go across the map immediately. He was like, I'm just going to go straight across the map with a probe. I will block your hatchery. And it's funny because mathematically, SOS gives up quite a bit of mining for this. It slows down things like his gateway, his nexus. But that's SOS. He's the guy who knows how to play in these adjusted scenarios. He purposely practices these, and he'll say, you know what, I'll take a slight economic inefficiency in order to throw you off your game plan. We're going to go into the realm which I've practiced, the timings which I've memorized perfectly.
Well, that is SOS in a nutshell, really, right there. And we saw it work to great effect in game number 1. So I'm excited to see, what does SOS do with this? Does he just go into those 2 Chrono Boost out at depths, into the Phoenix, into the Oracle? That's what he's done in both the games so far.
Seems to be the most solid opening in terms of his ability to find damage with it. And of course, there are a few ways that we've seen him, for instance, in GSL, change up the timings in the follow-up. Sometimes we do see him get a Phoenix and actually not even build an Oracle straight away and just go straight into Glaive Depths and then just do a big attack. Maybe add an Oracle on later. Sometimes we see, a single Oracle. Sometimes we see 2 Oracles. Sometimes he goes Glaive Depths. Sometimes he goes Archon drop into charge lots. The absolute just breadth of his strategy here is always something which is just fascinating to behold. And looks like once again it will be that Stargate play. The Chrono Boosted Adepts going to make their way across. And Elazer, he won the last game. But don't forget, he took 5 drone damage.
Yeah.
5 drone losses to those first 2 adepts. It was not a great start for him.
No, and with the hatchery split, it's even easier for SOS to do damage. It's harder for Elazer to block both bases. Normally your Zerglings can go between your natural base and your main over and over, chasing down Adept Shades. But here, it's really far, and the Adept Shades are quite quick.
This Adept here already looking to be as annoying as possible. The Queen tries to actually body block the Adept, knowing its damage isn't really the biggest factor here. Nice focus fire, gets the drone just before the Spore Crawler trick could come in. Elazer handling this almost perfectly, not quite quick enough to save that one drone.
All right, an Oracle on the way as these Adepts continue to put on the pressure. Notice that he skips the Phoenix this time, putting his Chrono Boost into that Oracle, trying to get it as quickly as possible.
Oh,
he wants
no.
drone damage.
There's no Zerglings here, Artosis. They were all at the 3rd base. This Shade gets right up here. Zergling speed finally finishes, but he keeps focusing down these drones just before the Spore Crawler tricks go down. He even accidentally did a full hit point drone Spore Crawler trick. 4 workers going down, and the Oracle's already making its way across the map.
And don't forget, he got that one over at the the first expansion. That's a big deal. Oh no, a drone on follow here.
Oh, small mistakes, but these add up. He's already taken some damage. He can't afford that.
All right, double Queen though does force the Oracle away, so that's good at least. The Oracle with no kills quite yet.
Made him look there as well, so he did reassign that drone. It's no longer following, so the one upside of the Oracle coming in is it did pull Elazer's attention over there. And just looking for these drones, I love the way SOS does this. He's always just hunting for the drones in the open.
Yeah, he's not wasting any mana. He's keeping this on right now, looking for targets.
And Elazer cancels the egg. Smart move.
Yeah, no reason to just lose all those minerals. The Phoenix flying out now, finding some Overlords. This first one gonna go down pretty quickly, and a second Stargate on the way, Pig!
That is insane, Artosis. A second Stargate? Are we gonna see the return of the mass disco ball of death?
I think that might be what we see here. Look at this, pooling Oracles. Now that he has the Phoenix out, pushing everything away, I mean, this is not something you would necessarily expect. It was very popular last year, but the Oracle's been changed a little bit. Not many people like to mass Oracles, and this could throw Elazer off. Look, he's getting a Roach Horn. That's the last thing on Earth you want against this.
Has no idea what is happening, of course. This Phoenix doing its job here. Doesn't want to lose that. Does pull back just in time, of course, doing Stasis Trap Harass as well. Zerglings continuing to scout around the map. Now, remember last game, he saw no 3rd base. What was Elazer's reaction when he saw no or a late 3rd? It was to build a ton of roaches to stay safe against all of those ground attacks that we've been talking about today. What have we not been talking about? Mass Oracles. Why? Because nobody's done it in months and months. SOS, though, he has a massive brain. He has a backlog of all the old builds, and he says, you know what nobody's thinking about right now? Mass Oracle.
Well, that is certainly a fact. There's an Overlord actually going towards the main base right now, and we'll see if he can actually stop that. Okay, he sees.
That's the second Stargate?
Yeah, he knows what's going on now, but is it too late? This is going to be very difficult. He has a lot of roaches that aren't going to do anything. Here come the Oracles going after everything, going after these Queens immediately.
Nice pick up there with the Phoenix. Saves the red hit point. Oracle is going to pull that one out of there. Takes the Spore Crawler down. Elazer desperately pulling Queens over here to defend. But every single Oracle gets out of there. Even the ones on red hit points. The drones forced to evacuate. SOS, a master of Oracle Micro finding huge damage.
Yeah, look at that. 13 drones, a Spore Crawler, and a bunch of Queens falling. Now double Oracle at home to defend against this Roach counterattack. Even a Void Ray coming out.
So smart.
GG is called. SOS with the ultimate mind games, able to take down Elazer 2-1.
The metagame remains mysterious to so many players, but not this man. We've seen Protoss go towards more and more aggressive Warp Prism-based attacks. We've seen Adept attacks, we've seen Archons and Charge Lots, but this man takes advantage of this safe Roach play, as we call it, completely abuses it, and takes one of the quickest victories we've seen today.
Well, you know, he knows that people want to play safe against him. They know that he can come kill him, right? But that's why SOS is so strong. He says, oh, you're going to play safe, you're going to get roaches? This kills a roach build, and he just busts it right out.
Beautiful play there from the Korean player, SOS. I can't wait to hear his thoughts. Smix will be interviewing him in just a minute, guys. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice. We just saw SOS take down Elazer 2-1. So first of all, congratulations, SOS. With this win, you have 3 wins under your belt in this group. So coming into this group, did you expect to have such a great start? 일단 축하드리고요. 이 승으로 이제 3승인데 이렇게 좋게 시작할 거라는 예상을 하셨나요?
이렇게 다 이길 줄은 몰랐는데 그래도 앞에서 최대한 많이 이겨놔야 된다는 생각으로 게임했는데 그래서 다 이길 수 있었던 것 같아요.
So honestly, I didn't think that I'd have just continual wins like this. But that being said, I did go into every match with the mindset of it would be really nice to get a lot of wins earlier on rather than later, since that would make my road more difficult. And I think that's what led to me being able to get all these wins under my belt. And in terms of this series against Elazer, we saw that he went Swarm Host in the one game that you lost. And it's very uncommon to see Zerg players do that in ZVP lately. So did that catch you off guard? 두 번째 경기에서 Elazer 선수가 군단 숙주를 썼는데 저그전에서 되게 흔하지 않은 선택이었는데 어떻게 생각하셨나요?
이 게임 하기 전에 도우 형한테 군단 숙주를 써가지고 어느 정도 예상은 하고 있었는데 제가 좀 병력을 밑에서 고위기사를 다 흘리니까 이게 밀리더라고요. 그래서 좀 네 번째 멀티도 깨고 다 잡은 게임이라고 생각했는데 져서 좀 많이 아쉬웠지만 그래도 한 경기가 더 있었기 때문에 최대한 신경 안 쓰고 게임했어요.
So he says, I actually saw that Elazer used this exact strategy against Classic, so I did expect it to a certain extent, but as the game played out, I did end up losing more units than I would have liked earlier on, and also I actually still thought that I had the game because I killed his fourth, and so I still thought I could have it, but the fact that I lost, I was pretty disappointed, but I decided not to dwell on it because I knew that I had one more map left and I could still win the entire series, which you actually did, and now moving forward, you're going to be playing Classic. The last time you played Classic was recently in the qualifier where he beat you 3-0, so can we expect a different result this time? 이제 다음에는 김도우 선수로 만날 건데 최근에 예선에서 만났을 때는 김도우 선수가 3-0으로 이겼었어요. 그래서 이번에는 다른 결과 나올 것 같은지.
우선 도영이 요즘 프로토스 중에서 제일 잘하는 것 같아서 좀 많이 걱정되는데 제가 푸프전을 이기려고 하면 지고 그냥 좀 마음을 비우면 잘 이기더라고요. 그래서 편한 마음으로 좋은 결과 얻을 수 있기를 바라고 있어요.
So he says, I think it's going to be a difficult match because I consider Classic one of the best, if not the best, Pro Toss player right now. And interestingly enough, what I've noticed about when I enter PvP matches is that when I really try hard to win, I tend to lose. And when I go into the matchup just not really thinking and just playing comfortably, I tend to win. So knowing that, I'm going to try to go into this match playing as comfortably as I can, and hopefully a good result will come out. So congratulations again, SOS. That'll be the next match coming up here on the main stage. Colaris, back to you.
That's right. Masterful control, a will to survive, and a massive brain, according to Pig. Realistically, looking at things, Tasteless, SOS is the full package, as Apollo would say.
He really is. There's not much he can't do.
Yeah.
And there's no other player that's quite like him, at least pulling off. I mean, there are some people like Classic that can pull off some crazy games.
Yes.
Not the kind of results consistently that SOS can pull off.
No, not at all. He's Mr. $O$. Todd, we're going to check in with you. You had Trap versus Marine. I want to get the final moments of, I think, game number 3?
Yes. Trap, known as the wing commander, that was no different here in this map. He went for a bunch of oracles that basically made the game for him. So if you can hop into my laptop here, I'll show you guys basically the life and story of these 3 pilots. This is basically Top Gun happening right here. They're just kind of flying, kill as much as they can. It's actually crazy, like the way he played it. Like there was 2 Widow Mines somewhere. He knew that there were 2 Widow Mines, still flew in with the oracles, killed a bunch of stuff. He heads on home. I'm just gonna fast forward to the next time this guy's kind of flying. He moves to the right-hand side this time. Guess what the oracles do? They fly in and they kill everything.
Look at that.
SCVs, oh, Steam Pack. Did you really think you could make Steam Pack? I don't think so. They fly out of there, and then if we follow them now, guess what they will do next? Give the information. It's revelation time. And from there, I mean, he was just so far ahead. Like, if you delay Steam Pack this much, so Trap tags this army, and he's like, what? He's expanding with this army? Does he think he can expand after he cancels Steam Pack? When I'm making units and I could attack?
Research complete.
Let me just move across the map and remind him that there are other units than oracles that exist. But that was after pulling very far.
This is
and
so...
obviously, we don't mind, it's not even burrow. This is just nightmare game.
Yeah, this is so masterfully handled here by SOS. So this is a game where...
Look at what he killed and what he lost.
This is not how he probably planned to win it, but he just saw the errors in Hero Marine's play and said, okay, I'll take that. That's what he did.
Yeah, very rare you would go in and target like a stim pack upgrade with oracles. It's not normally the exact target that you go for, but you saw the weakness, you saw the exposed weakness.
Yeah, and I think if Hero Marine's not respecting Trap as far as a position that he's been put in that game, and says, okay, well, I mean, you're still going to push out without stim. That's like the most important upgrade early on for Terran. You can't really attack without that.
Yeah.
And
All
then goes and it kills him.
The first oracle, by the way, that flew in, there was a Widow Mine that was burrowed in the mineral line. Trap arrived there. The Widow Mine locked into his oracle. He pulled it back on time. Like when I see that, I'm like, I'm so terrible at this game. I would never do that. I just fly it in and it would explode, and that's it. But Trap is incredibly good, guys.
Nice, nice. So good to see him doing well in this series as we just had it conclude. And of course, we will have Classic versus SOS in a few moments, which should be a good one. We've seen a lot of good PvP across this, this group stage here, Tasteless. It should be good.
I think so. This might be the coolest PvP we can ask for. I mean, Classic's looking really hot right now.
Yes.
He had a period where he was one of the best Protoss players, really that there was. SOS, I think, has had a longer history of being more consistent overall. But right now, Classic, especially in the GSL, we've seen some terrifying PvPs. So when these two guys duke it out, it's going to be cool no matter how it goes.
That was the finals of this, the qualifier for this tournament, by the way, the
It was.
winner brackets finals, which Classic won 3-0. And I think historically, I mean, they're 5-5 in series, but most of the latest few series that they've played went Classic's favor. That's why SOS in the interview kind of said, like, when I care a lot about winning and I try very hard, I lose.
Yeah, I remember actually casting that final between Classic and SOS, and watching him go through that qualifier was amazing because he'd only just barely missed out on qualifying in the winner bracket of Korea Qualifier 1 by 1 map against Dark, and then barely missed out in the lower bracket qualifier against Innovation.
Yeah.
1 game.
Yeah.
So he went on a massive tear through the second Korean qualifier. Thank you very much, gents, as we're going to go to a short break. When we return, Classic versus SOS.
Yes.
You don't want to miss this one.